In this video, we're going to look at how to convert square units of measurement. Now, there are 4 key units of measurement that we want to know how to convert. Starting from smallest to biggest, we've got millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers. If we're converting in linear form, to go from millimeters to centimeters, we would divide by 10 because there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. To go from centimeters to meters, we would divide by 100 because there's 100 centimeters in a meter. And if we're going from meters to kilometers, we would divide by 1,000 because there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Conversely, if we're going from centimeters to meters, we would times by 1,000. If we're going from meters to centimeters, we would times by 100. And if we're going from centimeters to millimeters, we would times by 10. So that's how we go in linear units. Now we want to have a look at what we would do if we're doing square units. So if we had millimeters squared, centimeters squared, meters squared, and kilometers squared. And what we did is we went through and added a square onto each of our major units of measurements. When we do our converting with square units, we want to do the same thing. So to go from millimeters squared to centimeters squared, we want to divide by 10 squared. To go from centimeters squared to meters squared, we want to divide by 100 squared. To go from meters squared to kilometers squared, we want to divide by 1,000 squared. And then to go from kilometers squared to meters squared, we want to times by 1,000 squared. To go from meters squared to centimeters squared, we want to times by 100 squared. And to go from centimeters squared to millimeters squared, we want to times by 10 squared. Using this guide, you'll be able to convert from one unit of square measurement to another. So let's have a look at some examples. Our first example, we want to go from 3 meters squared down to centimeters squared. So if we go back and look at our guide, we want to go from meters to centimeters. So when we go from meters to centimeters, we want to times by 100 squared. So to complete our calculation, we want to go 3 times 100 squared, which equals 30,000 centimeters squared. And you will note that we've got a lot more centimeters squared than we did meters squared, which is what we expect when we go from a bigger unit of measurement down to a smaller unit of measurement. In the next example, we want to go from 695 millimeters squared into centimeters squared. So when we go from millimeters squared to centimeters squared, we want to divide by 10 squared. So what we want to do is we want to go 695 divide by 10 squared. And that gets us 6.95 centimeters squared. This time, you will note that our answer is a lot smaller than the original amount of 695 millimeters squared, and that's because our unit of measurement is getting bigger. When the unit of measurement gets bigger, we would expect our answer to get smaller. So in our last example, we want to go from 1.3 kilometers squared down to meters squared. So when we go from kilometers squared to meters squared, we want to times by 1,000 squared. So we want to go 1.3 times by 1,000 squared. And that equals 1,300,000 meters squared. Another common unit of measurement we use is the hectare. Now the 1 hectare, and we use the abbreviation HA for hectare, is equal to 10,000 meters squared. So to go from meters squared 2 hectares, I want to divide by 10,000. Or to go from hectares to meters squared, I want to times by 10,000. So having a look at the example, I want to convert 1.3 kilometers squared into hectares squared. Now before I can convert it into hectares squared, I need to convert it into millimeters squared. So 1.3 kilometers squared is going to equal 1,300,000 meters squared. And I know that because I timesed it by 1,000 square meters, as I did in the example earlier in the video. Now that I've got meters squared, what I can do is convert that into hectares. So when I've got meters squared and I want to go to hectares, I want to divide by 10,000. And that is going to equal 130 hectares.